we need a way to communicate from the view model back to the UI controller without having the view model store references to any views, activities, or fragments. For example, we need the view model to communicate when data like the score has changed so that the game fragment knows to actually redraw the score. What would be really great is if we could change the data in the view model and then just have the screen magically know when to update itself. Fortunately, LiveData can do this for us. LiveData is an observable data holder class that is also lifecycle aware. Let's break this definition apart to see what this means in practice and to see how this solves our problem. LiveData holds data. This means that it wraps around some data. For example, we'll have LiveData wrap around the current score. LiveData is also observable. This goes back to our definition of the observer pattern that we learned about in the last lesson. As a review, the observer pattern is where you have an object called a subject. The subject keeps track of a list of other objects known as observers. Observers watch or observe the subject. When the status of the subject changes, it notifies the observers by calling a method in the observer. In LiveData's case, the subject is the LiveData object, and the observers are the UI controllers. The state change is whenever the data wrapped inside of LiveData changes. Let's go ahead and take our score as an example. We have our score data, and we would wrap it with a LiveData object. The observer would be the game fragment. Now whenever our score LiveData object changes, it'll automatically call a method in game fragment. In this case, we could have it automatically call update score text, which will then update the UI. So whenever the score changes, we can be sure that the UI will automatically update itself. Because the LiveData is UI data, it's kept in the view model. So here's the code for score as it is right now, and here's the sort of LiveData wrapped version of the score. Notice how this is a val. The LiveData object will always stay the same, although the data stored within it might change. Then we need to set up the observation relationship. To do that in the game fragment, you need to get a reference to the LiveData for score. Then go ahead and call observe. Then you give it this, which is the game fragment. That's what associates the fragment with the score LiveData. The next thing you need to do is pass it an observer object. This is an object with just a single method in it, onChanged. Using a lambda expression, we can simplify this to just the word observer with curly braces. This is the code that gets called whenever the score changes. I'm going to have it call update score text, passing in the new score. Okay, now somewhere else in the code, when you want to change the value of score LiveData, you can then call setValue and pass in the new score value to the LiveData. This will then trigger all of this code, which will update the UI. Thus, by setting up this observer relationship, you can have the view model communicate data changes back to the UI controller. I'll cover what LiveData's lifecycle awareness means soon, but for now, let's write some code.